This is the Parayan on Prakruti. On the Prakruti iBook, we are on page 180 of 399. The chapter will be read beginning chapter 1.6. Is it possible to attain control over Prakruti? And this is the morning session in Simandar city. We've already had 8 sessions of Prakruti. Each day we have 2 sections, Prakruti 1, Prakruti 2, etc. So we've had 4 sessions, 4 days of the detailed understanding of Prakruti, and today is the 5th day on the Parayan of Prakruti. In this Parishan, we had an additional day. The first day was on the Parayan, or the detailed study, under the vision of the living Gnani, Parayan, of the Aptavani 3, where the final chapter on the soul was covered. So in total, we've had 5 days of this detailed retreat in Simandar city, retreat where thousands of Mahatmas have gathered to go higher in the understanding, and therefore the Purusharth as the self, the pure soul, separate from the Prakruti, the non-self complex. And this, when it happens in the presence of the Gnani, is a magnificent unfolding of the effect within the life of a Mahatma. And to the extent that we can share this with those who cannot be present live, here we have these facilities that are available through the internet. Which also is an expression of the merit karma of Mahatmas who are sitting in the far corners of the world and cannot be there live in front of the Gnani. The original language in which this is being conducted is Gujarati, and various translations are happening. The current translation that you're listening to is the unofficial version. The official version is coming live through Simandar City on live stream in English and in Hindi. As we await the darshan of our Gnani, darshan means the visualization of the Gnani. Visualizing the world leads us and takes us in the direction of the world. Visualizing the Gnani reminds us of our own soul, our own self. And hence the darshan or the visualization of the Gnani is a very special thing. It reminds you and I of who we really are. Reminds us all of who we really are, the eternal ones, separate from that which is continuously changing in front of us, called the Prakruti, or the non-self complex, or the Pudgal, that which is filling and emptying. The peripheral body complex, which is eating, drinking, sleeping, etc., is part of the Prakruti. However, the critical part of the Prakruti is the part that is associated with ignorance, which is otherwise known as the Kashai complex, which is associated with the reactions of anger, pride, deceit, and greed. And in the ignorant state is the reason which charges a new Prakruti or a new self complex, new non-self complex, and in the state of the awareness of the self is separate from the self as the discharging complex of the ego intellect, which is associated with dying Kashai reactions, even as the awakened one remains separate from it. As we see the Gnani who has approached our Lord Simandar, the fully awakened one, perfect Lord, enlightened one in Mahavidya Kshetra, Namo Arihantanam, my Lord, and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevai, the Gnani Sri Krishna, who gave the exact science of Prakruti and Purush in the Gita. Highest namaskars to you, my Lord, and to Shiva, the embodiment of salvation, all who have become the embodiments of salvation of others, Shiva, Lord Shiva, and Namo Shivai, and then Gnani Purush Dadashri, who for all practical purposes, with his 350 degrees, 56 degrees knowledge, 358 degrees knowledge, is a Tirthankara for us because he has shown us the exact path of how to cross all the sansar or the interaction in the worldly life through various realms of existence and attain final moksha nirvana. Moving over to Ma, goddess Amba, the energy that represents sahajta of the Prakruti or naturalness of the Prakruti. Ma, my highest namaskars to you. And to Niruma, who is being blessed by Dadashri there in the picture. Niruma, the previous Gnani of ours, who left a fantastic legacy at the relative level and also all of these books in their precision so that we can study the words of our Gnani Purush Dadashri. Highest namaskars to Niruma. And to Ma Padmavati Devi, the celestial energy that represents the force that prevents all obstructions for the one on the path of liberation. Hema, my highest namaskars to you as the Gnani turns and looks at all of us and looks at all of us live, raising the hands above. Thousands of Mahatmas, enlightened ones of Akram Vignan have gathered for this, which is now the 6th day of the Parayan Parishan happening live in similar city on the 15th of September, where it is now 9:30 in the morning or 9 or 9:30 in the morning. And it is midnight here in the United States, or just past midnight. So we will be reading page 180 on the Prakruti I book, which has been shared by Shuddha. It has been shared on Facebook as we see our Gnani live in front of us. Jai Sachidanand, the awareness of the eternal is bliss, and the one who resides within you, the Paramatma, the absolute one, Paramatma, to him is my highest namaskars with deep obeisance. Let us read further. Chapter. You can change anger, pride, deceit, and greed Anything related to causes can be changed. By changing the causes, Prakruti becomes weak. So it is under the control, it is color form, it is interactive in appearance. Prakruti will play its role, but its color, intensity of tone changes, so it becomes easy, not sticky. So you will feel that even Prakruti has changed. No, it cannot change. You see? The causes can be changed, but the effect cannot be changed. So you see, the mango tree doesn't become the bitter neem tree. Only the intensity of the effect can be changed through recognizing the Prakriti. You know that this is rose. Can you have control over the rose plant such that its thorns will not prick you? Uh, uh, you have to carefully extract work out of it. Then Prakriti will be controlled. When can the rose be controlled? The answer is if you pluck the rose very carefully without being pricked by thorns, you can control it that way. That is the method we are trying to tell you. But will a rose plant ever change? You will get poked as soon as you stick your hand, will you not? Will it spare the gardener? It will not spare the gardener, the one who gives water to it. Will it spare not spare anyone? Control an untimely bomb is the big headache. Prakriti has both got the thorn as well as the flower. Know it. Enjoy the rose without disturbing the thorn. Know which part is the thorn and which part is the rose. Do not touch the thorn. Next heading, control an untimely bomb. Questioner. It has been so many years since we have attained the Gnan Dada. Even so, why does Prakriti still not stop from playing its role? How? It's our question. Why am I not improving? Why is my bad speech coming out? Why am I still angry? Why am I still willful? Why I'm doing so many pratikraman, but why is it not improving? Now Dadashri is answering. Dadashri, Prakriti will play its role, will it not? Should you not understand what Prakriti is? Prakriti means an untimely bomb. One never knows when it will explode. It will definitely explode. It is not under your control. Questioner. But Dada, still, why does it not come under control? Dadashri. Yati. Okay, so why am I not remaining in Sanyam, which is without Kashais? Dadashri says, but why does it not come under control? It is not under your control, but you still have to say that. But you do not have to say that. You will be a fool if you try to control it, and you will be a greater fool if you do not try to control it. So it is worth understanding this. It will fit when you understand this. Understanding means to keep seeing what is happening with the Prakriti. You continue to see what is happening through the Prakriti. See what Chandu Bhai, ego, complex, file number 1, Nada, Eunice is doing. That is all. How is that now? Is how when someone says insulting things to me, Dada, and even after so many years I cannot maintain control, then what is the point? Dada Shri says, Prakruti may scream even louder that day. What does it mean that I cannot remain in Sanyam? Sanyam means no anger, pride, deceit, or greed. If somebody really stirs me up, then I strike back. Prakruti may scream even louder that day. For 10 years, it would be saying staying quietly, saying it quietly, but that day it will become very loud because there is too much powder filled in it. So you should not do any bhanjgad, construction, destruction, or interfere in it. All you have to understand is, can you see it as separate or not? There is no problem if you are able to see Prakriti separate. You are free if you can. Do we not remain separate when somebody scolds us? We remain separate when somebody praises us, and we remain separate when somebody scolds us, says Gnani Purush Dadashri. Questioner. These are the two states of the Gnani. We get both. Whether we get insulted or whether we get praise, we remain separate. Separate means vitarag. I see. Then if you get praised, you'll say, "Oh, Shuddha, you just got praised, huh? How do you like it?" And you just got insulted, Shuddha. How do you like it? Questioner, I cannot remain separate at that time. When someone scolds me, I talk back at him. The other, she says, but even that, you, Y capital, the awakened one, have to see, and then your dhyan, meditation will gradually become like this. The same was happening to us in this path, and it was happening like this, and it is happening like this now. Right now, this is what is happening to you, then gradually it will become like this. So you, Y capital, are coming along on this path. Questioner, so it is going to remain like this even in this life? The other, she says, it may even become less in the later part of your life. It is different for everyone depending on what the karmic stock one has. Udgal means the emptying of what was filled, and that is what is going on. Nothing new is being charged, but keep seeing what is discharging. Questioner, so many years after attaining Gnan, should we not have control over our Prakruti? The other, she says, that is correct, but what state would you have been had you not had met Dada? Why am I not? Still person is saying that it's not changing. Then the final answer is coming, Dadashri. Dadashri says, Dadash, that is correct, but what state would you have been had you not met Dada? Everybody answers, Dadashri says. If you had not met Dada, what would have been our state? Whatever Dada is. Now, you know, but we have met Dada. Just imagine what would have happened to us. The questioner says, then it is not even worth talking about. Dada Shri says, Dada Shri says, then speak now. There is so much energy to accomplish great things. Yes, then carefully do the awakened one's work if there is any contradiction. Y capital, Prakruti means machinery. And how can you show obstinacy or adai or inflexibility towards that machinery? If you tell the machinery to change the gear, it says to that gear, I created you, so do not obstruct my finger when I touch you. It will cut it off, whether you created it or not, someone else's, because it is a mechanical adjustment. This Prakruti is mechanical, so you have to learn from Dada so that it will weaken the mechanical adjustment. Can that happen or not? You should once understand that from us. This art of interaction, bodh kada, means it is an art of ahimsa, non-violence, not that of violence. Yes, it will take one to moksha, so do not ruin this life of yours. Know how to interact with this Prakruti. So do not ruin this current life of yours. Everybody understood? Is asking. You see, it is a fan that is turning around. You see, if you don't and stick your hand into the turning fan. You just go to the switch and then know how to manage the switch. That is all. The wrong switch is the switch of misunderstanding. The right switch is the switch of the right understanding. You see, and this way it will come to its natural conclusion. So therefore, the understanding plus the knowledge will bring the correct result or the experience in the conduct. Wrong understanding and wrong knowledge will bring the wrong result. Right understanding and the right knowledge will bring the right result. The result being the experience, or the conduct. You see, with your own awakened awareness, you know how to deal, how to be with the Prakruti. You do not have to change it, alter it, manipulate it, or correct it. Next question from Dimple Bhai. You just learn our kada, our art of interaction. Deepak Bhai wants the microphone. He said, Yeshit says, one is the art of understanding. And then to see the Prakruti is the other art, number 3. And then there is the art of the using the knowledge. Bodh kada. What is bodh kada? Bodh kada means if Prakruti says that man is useless, then your bodh kada is the knowledge through the application of your knowledge that no, he's a good man, changing it into the positive. You see? When somebody insulted me in front of everybody, then you have to say, no, 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 he is so beneficial. So if you know how to change the hurtful to the helpful, then you can remain in balance against the negative forces of the Prakruti that is unfolding, because the insulted Prakruti will not listen to you, will try to make you upset too. And then there, or you can say, not mine, or come into the level of the Gnan. There are so many different keys of Gnan to be applied when the one with the pride, the ego of pride, got severely insulted or severely hurt. Learn how to see it separate, you see. If the Chandubai is hurting the wife, then you have to talk to Chandubai, you see, and say, do you want to continue this kind of negative interaction with the wife? You see, at that time, it is called, when it's conversing with file 1 is part of the knowing seer state, because you are the knower and you are the seer, but you are using extra special energies to separate from. If you try to change it, you will turn to be a stupid. If you will become stupid. If you try to manipulate it, you will turn out to be stupid. You see, because it's a machinery. Do you stick your finger into the machinery? It has already been formed. It will crush your finger. So remain aware in your awakened awareness through the intention. Your intention is not to hurt anyone. If you remain separate, then the kashais will not arise. But if you really come very close to it, then there are chances that the kashais might stick to you and might overwhelm you. You see, if you agree with, when the force, the electricity keeps on coming to the rolling fan, then the fan will continue to revolve more. But if you remove the power from the Prakruti, then you, if you are not in, if you are in opposition to what the Prakriti is doing, that means you are that means you are not with it. Therefore, the power has been disconnected. That is all. You are not. You don't want to go. Therefore, you have to tell the Prakriti, I am not in agreement with what you're doing. You have to talk to the Prakriti and say, I'm not in agreement with what you're doing. That is means there is an internal opposition to what the mind, switch, and body complex is doing. This is, you're not controlling the Prakriti, but you are keeping your awakened awareness present and your Gnan present, that I'm not going in that direction. You cannot change the Prakriti, but at least you are keeping your Gnan present, your knowledge present. On the first paragraph, you had said that the Prakriti is a result. You cannot change the Prakriti. You cannot control the Prakriti. Prakriti is a result only. And the second paragraph, and the anger, pride, deceit, and greed can be changed. The causes can be changed, however, the effect cannot be changed. Is the Prakriti of this life will improve, or is it the Prakriti of the next life? If you do not feel any if you do not, if there is a tank, if you do not put any more water in it, will not the force of the water that is coming out decrease? In the same way, when you do not feed any more kashais of the Prakriti by saying that this is happening to me, or by entering into kashais with the Prakriti, then whatever the kashais that were there as part of the field stock in the last life will empty, and the force will gradually decrease. You see, now, if you have got diarrheas and vomiting, well, the first thing the doctor will do is stop eating any food. You see, because there is nothing new coming in the body, and therefore the body's defense mechanisms will ultimately stop the diarrhea and the vomiting. You see, so by taking away the doership, and by taking you away from the kashais, the anger, pride, disease, and greed, and therefore you will be able to see. You see, nothing new is happening. Only the bitterness that is there, or only the kashais that were there in the Prakriti will unfold. However, nothing new is happening, and you will become free from it. The important thing is not to enter into further kashai reactions. You have to see, the important thing is to remain separate from the Prakriti as it is unfolding, regardless of how it is unfolding. And you have to learn this art only once, says Dada. On the one side, there is the knowledge of the real, and then there is a relative knowledge. Both kada, is that a relative interaction or is it the real? Why is it real? Is the art of it is both. To remain separate from the Prakruti is the first step, and then how to handle the Prakruti, how do there is a different solution for the Prakruti that is proud, that the Prakruti that is angry. There's a different solution for the Prakruti that is willful. There is a different solution for the Prakriti that is sexual, etc. So then one step is not enough. You need, in what way, then you have to say in what way this thing, the pride is wrong, sexuality is wrong, willfulness is wrong, to hurt others is wrong. This is why, therefore, that is where it separates. And at that time, and then then the third step, of course, is a pratikraman only, you see. But the first two, and then the protection is the same, because you do not want to protect the sexuality, you do not want to protect the pride reactions and the ego reactions. You do not, see, there is an 800-page book on brahmacharya, how to really become perfect. And there is so much material on man or pride in Aptavani 9. And so different understandings is given by our Gnani Purush Dadashri of how to tackle the Mani Prakruti, Maani, Mani Prakruti, the Prakruti that is laden with pride only, and a lot of self-inflated ego only, and a lot of excessive self-inflation only. And Kada is the what? The ball. Kada is the art. What is Kada mean? In Kramic path, in the step by step, they say, I want to become free, I want to get rid of my anger, and that is through the doership. However, and then, here in our approach is very simple. If you become angry, then you have to tell Eduardo, you became angry. Do you think this is good? Will this look good in the eyes of the public? You're a Mahatma of Dada now. Stop this nonsense, you see. And so we are changing inside only. We are not changing the non-self complex at all. You are just changing your own, the way you look at it all. Because before you used to believe that it's okay if I get angry, you see, but now you're saying from internally, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going to hurt other people. I'm not going to be willful. I'm not going to be greedy, etc. So both kada and gnan kada. What is the difference between Gnan Kada and Bodh Kada? Because Dada has used both words in his Dadavani. Gnan Kada means, Kada, the art of Gnan means to remain separate as through the art of separation. Who am I? And who is the doer? Who is the to be in the five agnas? Whereas Bodh Kada here is what Deepak Bhai has just already given in detail. Will the result of Gnan come in this life, or the next question is asking? There is our Mahatma, he took Gnan, and now he does alaukik bhav, spiritual inner intents. So will he get the effect of these alaukik bhavs in this life or later? The other Shishya says he'll receive both now and also later. Results of bhav, inner intent, are fresh as well as later. It happens later after binding the Prakruti, and at the moment he'll receive the illumination of the light. Does a person not cool down after we give Gnan? Asks Dada. Dadashri says, questioner says, yes, a lot. Dadashri is a result of the bhav, you see. Dadashri. Questioner, even the whole interest will change. The ras. Dadashri says, it will all change. It will lose its stickiness. And in how many ways you, Y capital, have become free. Now, what is the rush to attain moksha? Whatever Prakruti one has, it is going to leave him. It is not going to leave him alone. He has to suffer that Prakruti to be free, for sure. Bhog away. One has to understand what he has to do in that Prakruti. That's all. That is all he has to understand. One has to come here. One has come here with the bound Prakruti from past life. He has bound endless, much of which he is now free from. He has bound it from all the sides. There are two parts here. We have received this Gnan, and that is the out of this world. You see, alaukik, it is the bhavna of the pure soul, the bhavna of this brahmacharya to be absolutely perfect, you see. And not, they have to, but now we have, and then we also get the understanding of how to become free from all of these puzzles of life through the five agnas, you see. And by following the five agnas, there is very subtle charging of through the intention to charge to do be in the five agnas, and we will meet a Gnani or Tirthankar in the next life. You see. And our punyanu bandi punya, the merit karma of the highest order, is such that we will also have all the material benefits in the next life, but also our path of final liberation will be very, very clean and clear and easy. And the service that Mahatmas are doing in this life, and this if a you see, if Mahatmas do some sevas, but if he tells a lie, then he will get the effect in this very life only. You see, if he does, it is if he tells, if he serves others with sincerity, then he will in this very life he will get very beautiful benefits. And so also the internally in the knowledge of Gnan, he will have the right equanimity, etc., and bliss also at the subtlest level, because he is charging new karma through the five agnas. The next life will be very magnificent. So it is a total answer that our Gnani Purush Dadashri has given us. And in this, whereas in the outer world one cannot even find a drop of happiness, and here the Mahatmas are actually bathing in the ocean of bliss. You see, and here, and we are having, and we are having the showers and the Iguazu falls of bliss. We really need to understand this science sincerely only. That is all, and move forward in the Purusharth as the self only, as capital. It has been said that, and no. Yes, no, she has read the question. You see, no, she has not read the question, so I'm not going to. It is just what we read in the translation of the English translation. It is correct. So just on a previous page, on page, you see, does a person not cool down after we give Gnan? Yes, he cools down a lot. It is a result of bhav. You see, after Gnan, there is no new energy coming to the fan that is turning, you see, because the body complex has been disconnected. You see, because she is giving, you see, who the Prakriti is not changed. However, we get the light of our Gnan from the awakening. Do we not? That's it. Heading Nigrahi kim karishyati. Nigrahi kim karishyati. Certain parts of Prakriti is unchangeable, and certain parts are not changeable at all. Yesterday was asking somebody para prakriti and apara prakriti. Today I referred to two Gitas. I read two Gitas of Lord Krishna. I opened up the Gita, and then I read five Gitas, and I found it so beautifully that Chandu it is apara prakriti. Chandu is, and the one who is I am Chandu, Mr. Chaitanya is para prakriti, and then the Atma is the Shuddha Atma is Atma. So para prakriti and apara prakriti. Para means the non-self, and apara prakriti means is different. But you see, these are all languages of Sanskrit, which Deepak Bhai is not very familiar with. But otherwise, this is all very well described in the Gita only. See? No, so in the Gita, the entire essence of the science of liberation is there. There is anger, pride, deceit, and greed. There is Akash, Prithvi, Pani, Vayu. Then there is space. Then there is earth. Then is water. There is wind. There is fire. There is ether. That is the soul. So these are different ways of putting the same words. Certain parts of Prakriti is changeable, and certain part is not changeable at all. What part is changeable and what part is not? Dadashi says most of it is not changeable at all. Only a certain part of it is changeable, and what seems changeable, Prakriti is not changing, and it appears to be changing. Actually, it is already changed. It is also a kind of Prakriti, but what people say that it changed because of this, that is what seems to them. In fact, it is not changing. It has already changed from within. This is very important to understand. This Akram Vignan is very deep science. This the simple essence is, says Deepak Bhai, that Prakruti, that which we are seeing is unchangeable. Only the part that is associated with knowledge, we can change the cause, but we cannot change the effect. Whatever we see changing in front of us, that change has already been part of incorporated in the seed, in the causes in the last life, and therefore it kind of keeps changing. For instance, yeah, so it's changing. So, so what appears as a change has happened previously. You see, it was already is part of the blueprint in the cause at all. It is not changing. It may appear changing in this life, but it is not changing. It is already an effect of effect only. It is an effect. If in a previous life, at a certain lifetime, you met a saint, then after a certain time in this life, your Prakruti will change and it will become like a saint. Some people come to satsang because he had bought such so after coming to satsang for 10-15 years, and then he stops coming to satsang, and therefore that is what he has bound in his Prakruti in a previous life. You see, he's not doing it. You see. Say the intensity of the Prakruti, the intensity with which it is unfolding, that will decrease continuously as the force of the karma decreases. Does Prakruti change after one attains Gnan? Dadashri says it will not change before or even after attaining the Gnan. It changes a little after Gnan, but how much? It has already changed previously in the past life within, and that is why it changes. A new Prakruti is not being formed. Once you sow the seed of cause in the life as a human being, then 50 to 70 years later or 100 years later, the effect of another human body will arise. You see, the causal body in a human seed gives this effect after 60, 70, 80, 90 years. A mango will give its fruit in 6 to 7 years, a tree will arise, you see. Yes. Even in the office, we have finished some work in about by 10%, some work by 15%, some work by 20% in the following days. So this is how it is. All work has its own divisions, and if it does not get done, that means a link is missing. That is all. Everything, life after life, has its own order and regularity. From 99 it happens to 100, and therefore he says it happened in front of us. Only that which was inside is expressing. That is all. Nothing new is happening. And is it because there is less stickiness that it feels that it is changing? It is not because of less stickiness. It is because a person says, I have given up tea, I have given up cheesecakes and desserts and sweet things. That is a result of what he had filled in the previous life, and he's simply exercising the wrong ego by saying that I gave up this and I gave up that, I gave up sex, I gave up alcohol, etc. This is all part of what was created in the Prakruti in the past life and is discharging in this life. So, no. Purusharth is different. Purusharth means that which is applied through the knowledge. That is your new knowledge, you see. Supposing you have decided that, in this life you do not want to hurt anyone, that is a new knowledge, you see. But you see, the hurting or the not hurting is the part of the discharging Prakruti. The knowledge is different. The knowledge is always new. Anger, pride, deceit, and greed, and the beliefs and ignorance and you see all of those things, kashais, all of this is good. That is no longer our knowledge, but it may still unfold in the Prakruti. However, our new knowledge is that anger, pride, deceit, and greed, willfulness, and hurting others is not good, and therefore the new knowledge prevails over the old knowledge. Is this universally applicable? Yes, it is applicable universally. Supposing you may have taken everybody has filled different vegetables in the sack that he takes to the vegetable market. You see, does he not? You have filled more tomatoes, the other one may have filled more squash, etc. So everybody has filled different stock in his Prakruti. And You see, so he's just giving the example of the vegetable market, everybody going to the vegetable market with a different sacks, different bags. So therefore, simply Prakruti cannot be changed, however the knowledge can be changed. Whatever Prakriti you do not like, then change your knowledge about it. If your Purusharth is open, you can certainly do the Purusharth. Purusharth means to progress as the self through the 4 steps and the 5 levels of through the 4 steps. This is wrong. In what way it is wrong? Do Pratikraman when it happens and never protect it. These are the 4 steps. Do not be worried about the final moksha. You already have been released here. You are already in moksha. You don't have to be worrying. You are already a rich man. It's like a rich man who is very rich and he says, I want money, not knowing that he has got millions in the bank. You see? Now you have already been released. You are already the pure souls. Now you should not be talking too much about moksha. But we have filled this in. What is causal moksha? The causal moksha has already happened to all Mahatmas. Now the effect moksha means the final liberation, nirvana, will happen after all the files here are discharged and you go to Mahavidya Kshetra where you meet the fully enlightened one, the Vitrag Lord. Whatever change is happening in this current Prakruti, is it also not a discharge? The meeting the Gnani is a discharge, is it not? But having become the pure soul, then the one becomes the Purush, P capital, the self, and Prakruti is under the influences of scientific circumstantial evidences. And now you have entered into the independent Purusharth of Purusharth of Gnan from 300 degrees to 360 degrees. And the Purusharth of Gnan means never to allow new anger, pride, deceit, and greed to arise. The old anger, pride, deceit, and greed will arise in the Prakriti, but do not mix with them. Do not believe that they are happening to you. Do not believe that they are yours, and therefore you will remain separate. That is called your Sanyam Parinam. Sanyam Parinam is absolute absence of anger, pride, deceit, and greed. That's all, you see. And any kind of hunger of sexuality, any kind of hunger of hunger of pleasure of any kind, etc. That is called Sanyam Parinam. And if it does happen into the file number 1, then you are in opposition of it, you see. So it is therefore our Purusharth is, so to come into equanimity is our Purusharth, because lack of equanimity, Rag Dvesh, is the nature of the file 1. And your bhav is to remain in equanimity, that is all. So now you have entered into equanimity. You are no longer the doer of anger, you are no longer the doer of sexuality, you are no longer the doer of deceit, you are no longer the doer of willfulness, you are no longer the doer of greed. You see, that is who you are, and be that and be free. That is all. That means by speaking like this, you have become, this is called the Purusharth of the Purush, you see. The Prakriti will continue to do its work, negative or positive at the relative level, but you see, you need to, because by saying that what is happening wrong in the Prakriti is wrong, that it is should not be so, that means you are only affirming your exact purity only. You are not saying wrong for saying anything wrong in the Prakriti. You are only establishing your purity only. With the references to your purity, you are saying that this thing is not right or not wrong. That is all. So anything that you do at the level of the pure soul, that is what is going to make the difference. That is the energy, right? So the only charging that happens is the 5 agnas. Don't you have to settle a file with equanimity? Don't you have to enter into some subtle doership? Don't you have to enter into some kind of penance? You see, when you are the pure knower seer, Gnata Drashta, that is called absolute Shukla Dhyan. But we have Shukla Dhyan means I am the absolute pure blissful self only, nothing else. But you see, when somebody insults you, you have to go into penance. Somebody steals from you, you have to go into penance, you see. because to move from ajagruti, lack of awareness, and to remain persistently in the awakened awareness requires an inner penance, and therefore you have to follow the agnas, and there is a subtle sense of doership, and because of that there is a very subtle amount of charging for one more life in the and then because it is not possible to get absolutely enlightened in this life in the absence of a fully enlightened one, and therefore you will get the necessary limits in the next life, and in the next life the link will continue, and therefore in the next life you will be easy for you to attain absolute knowledge. And it is not really called charge, it is not called charge, but we use the word charge. It is further progress and further development. But if if because what is called charge, then the what do you call charge? Supposing suppose you see You see, now supposing a young man who is not studying, you enters university. Once he has entered the university, will he not start studying, even though he was running around, and then slowly he will come on track, and then ultimately he will, at the age of in 22 years more, he will attain the PhD. What we want to know, that he has stopped wandering around and now he has gotten on track. And by getting on the right tracks of the railway lines of Vyavahar Nishchay in exactness, he will come to God. He must not get out of the university. The other one who is wandering around, you see, we are using, he may go to some other school. You see, now that school and will make him finish for primary school and then secondary school. But in this Akram Vignan, it is really at the level of the PhD only. You become the soul. By being the soul and experiencing the soul, you are only aware of the field stock within Eunice, within Daniela, within Eduardo. That is all. You see, you just settle the file with equanimity only. That is all. This, this you see, we are on the way to moksha. It might stop in Mahavidya Kshetra, which is a way station. Mahavidya is a station on the way to final liberation, absolute liberation. This has been outlined clearly by Gnani Purush Dadashri. And so, and when and a person who is not on the right track yet, if he meets an Atma Gnani, then he will get on to the right track, and then he will get on finally to moksha. That is all. Therefore, in every circumstance to have the Sayam Parinam, that is the state of the Gnani, you see, everybody requires stop. In every circumstance, if you are without kashais, then that is called Sayam Parinam. The resultant state of a state without any kind of kashai, reaction, anger, pride, deceit, or greed, that is called Sayam Parinam. What was changeable is get changing. And now after taking Gnan, we know what is changing. That which was changeable is changing now. What is changing now? We don't worry about changing anything at all. Don't try to change Alpesh at all. Cannot be changed at all. He is the Prakruti. Because the Prakruti changed. The Prakruti changed because of the previous. How did the Prakruti change? Supposing the person is smoking. And do you know whether file 1 will, do you know when he will stop smoking? So you don't know when he's going to stop smoking. So and if the smoking does not stop, then you should recognize, today start the Purusharth of being stopping smoking through the 4 steps. It is wrong. In what way it is wrong? Pratikraman and asking for forgiveness, energy never to repeat it again, and 4th, never to protect the mistake of smoking. Now, and supposing this cigarette smoking, now does the change happens because of the grace of Dada? No, you should say that it is the grace of Dada that it happened. It's through the grace you got knowledge, and through the knowledge you got the change, and therefore everything has happened through the Gnani Purush's Krupa. That is all. Krupa means grace. Always say that it, now we see this no, nothing new has happened. You have to say grace, but inside you should have the awareness. But inside, never believe that I did it, because you're not the doer of anything. You see, it is really Krupa, it is grace only. Don't just imagine what would have happened if you had never met Dada. You see, so You would have gotten married to somebody, and you would be hanging around with a bunch of kids, and listening to all the jabs of your wife, and you would have all the worries of your wife, etc. So now you met Dada at the right time, or in other words, through Niruma, and therefore you are free. You see, now you don't have to worry about women and all that. You don't have to. Depending on what is good for you, what you're talented at. So different, depending on your talent, you got different work after entering into Akram Vignan, or in the service of Akram Vignan. But it is all natural, scientific, circumstantial evidences that are happening. you know you see, the Prakruti will become the appropriate nimit in the work of Jagat Kalyan. However, your Purusharth as the S capital self will continue to rise on the path of liberation. In this life, we know what is right, what is wrong, and these are all suffering. Because we got this understanding in this life, did I not get the real understanding in this life? The understanding is the most critical thing. Yeah. Yeah, in the previous life, you must have desired that I want liberation even by a drop, but because of excellent merit karma effect, the result was that you met the Gnani and you received the Gnan of Dadashri, and therefore, the merit karma of the highest infinite lifetimes, you received this Gnan, and now you have got the understanding of the five agnas, and in what way you are separate from the Prakruti. Prakruti is nothing but that which has been bound through anger, pride, deceit, and pride, and illusory attachment only. And it is now a built non-self complex in front of you that people identify as Prajna, or as Unisi, or as Uva, or as Eduardo, you see. I say so. You see, there is, but depending on what was filled inside the Prakruti, it will unfold. If one has filled a heavy amount of junk in his Prakruti, it will take a longer amount to clear. If you had filled less, then it will take less amount to clear. But it is going to clear completely. So, but I do feel, she says, that did I fill it in last life or did I fill it in this life? Yes, it was filled in the last life. But in the previous life, all you wanted to become free is, I wanted to become free from worldly interaction by marriage, and therefore in this life it came in your reality. Therefore you remain unmarried and you became an Aptaputri, one of these celibate nuns in the Akram Vignan path. Next questioner. What part does Prakruti change after one? If Prakruti cannot be changed, then how should one interact with the beneficial Prakruti or the unfavorable Prakruti? Dadarshi says you have to see only. You should say, why do you overeat all this? Why do you eat sour things? Prakruti is doing this. So you are separate and Prakruti is separate. You are not responsible. It will become your responsibility if you try to stop it or put brakes on it. You see, this is by you are separate from the Prakruti. You have to speak to the Prakruti of Unisi, the ego complex Unisi, through internal conversations, you see. And is this all you have to do? You do not have to try to change Unisi, you do not have to change Thais, you do not have to change Marcia. You just have to talk to her, that is all. And by talking to her internally, you are becoming separate from the Prakruti, the formed non-self complex of Marcia. And therefore this is the greatest achievement in spirituality, attainment in spirituality. You are part of the science. Supposing she wakes up in the morning and drinks 2 cups of coffee, and then she they can tell her that, I want to drink only, you should drink only one. Then she says, no, I want to drink two. What was no, I want to drink two. So what was filled in it will discharge, and she will end up drinking 2 cups only. But at least you have taken the benefit of separation by speaking to her. The eater is eating, the non-eater is simply knowing that, you see. The eater is overeating, the non-eater is simply seeing her eat or not eat. You see this. So Marlusi, the eater, is eating, the non-eater, is simply seeing Marlusi eat the food. That is all. Lord Krishna has said, nigrah kim karishyati, has he not? How are you going to stop it? That is, how are you going to restrain Prakruti? Prakruti is a discharging thing. I have given such a siddhant, that which accomplishes the ultimate, incontrovertible principle in writing, that you do not have to read anything, says Dadashri. Amazing stuff here in front of us. You see, the siddhant is always that in your heart only. Yes, you have written it that way. The other she says that the siddhant too is very in the heart and it solves the problem. No entanglements will arise at all. Questioner, the Prakruti cannot be suppressed, that it is one thing. Then how should one understand Prakruti? Should we understand it as jad, inanimate or without feelings? The other she says effect or result cannot be changed. There is no question of jad or chetan, matter or the self in it, is there? Once you have taken the exam at the college, is there any way of changing the result? Here, the result is in the hands of these people. Still, they cannot make too much change. It is without any interference there during causation in the past life, is it not? Result means effect. No change can be made in it. Prakriti gives all the effects, so one cannot change anything. That is why Lord Krishna said in short, nigrahi kim karishyati. But the ascetics do not like that. The monks on the Hindu path do not like it. Gnanis understand that Prakriti cannot be suppressed, nor can it be changed. It has to be seen only as capital. Instead, people are trying to suppress and control the Prakriti. Habits of Prakriti will not leave quickly. Heading. And the other she says, when somebody gives respect to us, at that time we remain separate. If somebody insults us, we remain separate. What happens to us? We become attached. You see, if somebody insults us, we get attached with the Prakriti. If somebody appreciates us, we become also tanmayakar. We become unisi. We become over. We become nada. You see, and that is what is happening, because by becoming tanmayakar, absorbed, we attachment and abhorrence arises. You see, but Yes, if you can see, so if you do not enter into it, and if you settle, if you become the knower of it, if you settle the file with equanimity, if you enter into penance, you know who this is happening to, then then you will not be affected by insults or respect at all. So the internal conversation is very important. Who is this happening to? The moment you get insulted, you should start speaking to your niece. The moment you get insulted, you should start speaking to nada. You see. The habits of Prakriti will not leave quickly. Questioner, a man has certain Prakriti or a habit which he cannot get rid of quickly. Is that true? The other Shri says it will not go away. If it has become a habit, then the Prakriti will go away after a long time. So what should one do so that it goes away soon, Dada? Dada Shri says, whatever force it has, it will last as long. If you drop this ball from this height, will it stop suddenly from bouncing? No, it will not. So this is like that. So you need to remain separate, far from it, and then continue to step back from Arthur, step back from Jeff, and see what is happening. See in separation what is happening. Step back from Jeff, step back from Shava. What are you going to get? What has happened? You know, by separating, you are free. You attain. You feel the freedom. Against Prakruti, prone to addiction, is the heading. Questioner. And when you say, why is this happening to me? You already become Jeff, you already become Shava. You see, you already become Eduardo, you already become Daniela, that is all. Supposing there is a pond, and you throw you throw a stone, it will create ripples. But if it is already shaking, then what? If everybody is throwing stones in it, everybody walks away from the stone. After half an hour, the pond will become still, will it not? In the same way, the best way to become free from the ripples and the turmoils and the storms in the pond of the Prakriti is to step away from it. That is all. if there are any suffering, remain separate. If there is pleasure, remain separate from it. If somebody says you're stupid to Dadashi says, now I realize, wow, now I know that there is no intellect, no sense in Chandu. So Dada also remain separate. He says, wow, he's telling M. Patel that he has no intellect. Let me see what's going on. Yeah, uh, to remain separate and see. Let's just continue to see. And there's some other, and then the second part is that we have to oppose it. We have to oppose it. If you do it, you know, in the conversation you can talk a little bit more. That means initially, to be the knower and seer is the highest, but conversation is at a lower level because it is a way in which you become the knower seer. You can talk to him. You can talk to him if he overeats, and you say, you converse to him. Is that if you take double the cheesecake, then tomorrow you will suffer. But if she doesn't listen and she ends up eating the 2 cheesecakes, then will she not suffer the result of having eaten the double in the next day? Yes, Eunice will know about it, but you have to. You don't. You just have to give information to Eunice. You just have to give information to Nada. You have just give information to Grit or Katya. That is all. Yes. So this is an account. This is an account of subatomic particles. Whatever is going to come into the Prakruti is going to come into Prakruti. Neither can you add more, nor can you prevent more from coming. This is what is. When you converse with file number 1, that means you are separate and you are progressively separate. Is it important to show the dangers of it? But you have to point it out. But then whatever she does or he does, you have to accept it. The eater is eating, the non-eater is simply the knower of it. That's all. Against the Prakruti prone to addiction is the heading. Questioner. We say that not a fraction of Prakruti is in I, and not a fraction of I is in Prakruti. So, not a single quality. So, why does it not change after attaining Gnan? How can it change? Whatever Prakriti one has come with from a previous life, it will remain, will it not? With Gnan, main causal Prakriti can be changed. And effective Prakriti remains. Then it does not give rise to entanglements. The film will play exactly the way it was filmed, except the causes part of it becomes loose and non-binding. Therefore, nature's arrangement is wonderful, you see. Questioner. No matter what the circumstances, the Prakruti never changes. Is that so? Dadashri says, what never changes at all is called Prakruti. It only changes when Gnani Purush destroys all sins. Then certain part of it tones down. So after Gnan, your Prakriti is considered change. Otherwise, it does not change. That is why people say that Dada changes one's Prakriti. There are some people who drink a lot of alcohol, eat meat, they stop doing that the next day. Questioner. So what should one do to stop drinking and eating meat, Dada? What should one do to stop drinking and eating meat? Dadashi said it is important that you stop drinking alcohol, and it is best if you do not eat meat because it carries a liability. But when I explain it, one will understand that it is a liability. Then he will stop eating it. It is not in your Prakruti, that is why you do not eat it. It is not in your Prakruti, that is why you do not eat it. Thus, you may say, I do not eat meat, but underlying this should not be the sense that I am wiser than these other people. This brother here used to think I am a bit smarter than him. Is that smartness gone now? I am better than him, I am superior than him because I am not eating meat and he is eating meat. That is the wrong approach. Yes, or that is called over wisdom, over wiseness. Is that yes? Is the smartness gone? It is gone. But I do not give. I do not give. I do not think about cigarettes again. The other says Prakruti will not let go away. You have to explain it, and you have to let go of it in a way, such a way that systematically those Parmanus, subatomic particles do not remain in the body. Even its root should not remain. If you suddenly stop, then the root and the other thing will still remain. You see, if when I explain that eating meat and drinking alcohol is dangerous, until I explain to him, until then the Prakruti will not understand it. Certain things change, you see. The cause has got two types. At the Sukshma, means at the Sukshmatam is that is I am this, and then Sukshmatar it is anger, pride, deceit, and greed. And then you see through the Sukshmatar it continues to give support to the Prakruti. The subtle part and the Sukshmatam, and I am pure soul is gone, but at the Sukshmatar there is anger, pride, deceit, and greed. They're still living. Most of them they're in the ones separate, and then the effects are there, and and that effect comes in the Prakruti, and as long as you agree with it, what is wrong with it, then the Prakruti continues to remain. Whereas you see, when he understands the dangers of it with reference to spirituality, you see, and the veils over spiritual vision, then he will say, why this is so dangerous, therefore he will say, then I do, the sexual affairs, etc., you see, the going, you know this is, sexual affairs, meat eating and alcohol is are so dangerous that the other, she says, I will not take responsibility for it, you see. It is therefore one sits in deep opposition of the Prakriti in this. But if he has got a link from a previous link, and then he gets this knowledge from a previous link that I want to stop this, then he gets the link, and then the words of Dada comes to him, and therefore he will not, and this is all nimitic, and he understands the responsibilities, and he wanted to leave it, but you see, but when he understood the knowledge behind it, and then he leaves it, then he begins to leave it. The Gnan helps it, and so then the Prakriti so the knowledge only is the thing that stops. The causal knowledge is the thing that stops the discharge in the Prakriti. The ext- the the external renunciation is not important. I am not eating anything, but inside he's dreaming about good food and wine. Then it is not. It is of no consequence at all. It is really. You see, don't give the ego. I don't eat drink, and I don't drink alcohol, and I don't eat meat. That is wrong ego. When you're not eating alcohol, milk, meat, and drinking alcohol, that is through the grace that it has fallen away. There is a science behind it. If it is going to go away in this life, that means it was in the charge, Prakruti in the previous life only. And but when you enter into this false sense of pride and accomplishment that I'm free from alcohol, drug, and sex, yeah, unnecessary sex, then you are into another hole of egoism only. Now, strong intent changes the new Prakruti. Questioner. Let's take a break now. So we are now in the break here, and this is the first session that has become. Uh, so we are taking the break here.